Today I'm joined by Chris Mancini, Senior Sales Director for Mining Lubricants at Fuchs, to discuss the lubrication challenges mines face as maintenance intervals are extended amid labor shortages and increasing operational demands. We explore the risks these shifts create, the lubrication best practices that most directly impact equipment reliability, productivity, and profitability, common mistakes in grease selection for harsh environments, and how rising sustainability and regulatory pressures are influencing lubrication decisions across the mining industry. So, Chris, what lubrication risks emerge when mines extend maintenance intervals in response to labor shortages?
This is obviously an issue that's plaguing the industry for quite a few years now, with a lack of labor and a lack of resources at the mine sites. Typically, one of the big ones would be oil and grease degradation. So, when you get into longer intervals, it lets contaminants, oxidation, water build up, which ends up reducing lubricant film strength, additive effectiveness, and can lead to increased wear, corrosion, and ultimately failure. Some other things that should be considered as well is undetected degradation. So, when you have fewer people to do inspections, there's going to be a lot more time in between, visible inspections on the equipment. So, temperature rises, vibration, particle counts, these things could be missed and could also cause sudden failure. And increased failure rates and downtime from small degradation becomes catastrophic, leading to unplanned maintenance, unplanned outages, and costly repairs. So, with that being said, there's a lot of mitigating things you can put in place to try to work around this, whether it's automation or the right application, right lubrication solutions.
What lubrication best practices have the biggest influence on equipment reliability? And how do they ultimately result in improved productivity and profitability?
So, some of the best practices would be condition based lubrication monitoring. So, looking at oil analysis, wear particle analysis, infrared vibration analysis, all of these things can be done as part of either a preventative or predictive maintenance topic and could, extend component life, but also minimize usage of lubricants. Also, the right lubricant selection. So, making sure you're looking at the right application based on the environment and the use case. So you want to look at correct base oil viscosities, additives, grease thickeners. All of these things need to be compatible and specific to the application. This would ultimately lead to longer mean time between failures. And also, another thing to look at is the lubrication method, making sure that the application method is metered, automated pumps where applicable, correct relubrication intervals and amounts. All of this could lead to, like I said, lower lubrication usage and longer life of components.
Are there common mistakes mines make when selecting or applying grease in harsh environments? And what are the consequences?
So one of the biggest ones I've seen is using the wrong thickener or base oil viscosity based on the application. If you're using the wrong thickener type or the wrong base oil viscosity, it could lead to whether it's high speed, low speed, it could lead to premature failures, inadequate film thicknesses, messes, leakage, which is safety concern and environmental, and ultimately failure of components. That also goes back to incompatibility with greases. So if you're mixing the wrong types of thickeners or additives, you can get into a softening, a hardening, or even separation of the lubricant and ultimately, seize up and failure. Also, a big issue that I've seen is contamination. So poor storage and contamination control. Dirt in your lubricants or your grease can ultimately lead to an abrasive situation that could end up causing premature failures and components as well.
Public and regulatory scrutiny around sustainability is increasing. How is that influencing lubrication choices in mining? And what tensions does it create for maintenance teams?
Sustainability is something that's coming from a regulatory stance, no matter what we want to do. There has been somewhat of a shift to bio based or biodegradable lubricants. This is just being more cognizant of the environment and, having spill sensitive areas and meet regulations and stakeholder expectations. But, in the sustainability topic, it could be reflected back as better reliability and efficiency. So, people are having a preference for longer life lubricants, more high performing products so that there's less waste, less disposal, less consumption, which should lead to, better component life, but also, more efficient spend and cost per ton.
Thank you, Chris, for sharing your insights into the lubrication challenges facing today's mining operations. To learn more about innovation in mining lubrication and how Fuchs can support your operation, visit www.fuchs.com or connect with our team of experts for personalized guidance.